In 1970, while the world was witnessing rapid change and innovation, something small yet remarkable was quietly being created inside the walls of the United States Mint. It was a simple dime worth just 10 cents at the time, but for a few lucky collectors, it would one day become a numismatic treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. This is the fascinating story of the 1970 U.S. Roosevelt one-dime coin error, a coin that defied the precision of minting machinery and captured the imagination of coin enthusiasts around the world. Some of these rare dimes have sold for more than $32,000 at auctions, turning pocket change into a collector's dream. To truly appreciate the 1970 Roosevelt dime and why its errors are so significant, we have to go back to its origins. The Roosevelt dime was first issued in 1946, replacing the Mercury dime, as a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away the previous year. The decision was fitting because Roosevelt had been a major supporter of the March of Dimes campaign, which aimed to eradicate polio, a disease he himself had battled. The design, created by sculptor John R. Sinek, features Roosevelt's left-facing profile on the obverse. Above his head sits the word Liberty, while to the left, the inscription, "In God We Trust," appears. Below the neck is the date, 1970, and just above it, in small letters, the designer's initials, JS. The reverse of the dime shows a torch in the center, representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch symbolizing peace on one side and an oak branch for strength on the other. Surrounding it are the words, United States of America, E pluribus unum, and one dime. This design had already been in use for nearly 25 years by 1970, and it remains one of the most enduring and recognizable coin designs in U.S. history. In 1970, two main U.S. mints struck Roosevelt dimes, the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't carry a mint mark, and the Denver Mint, whose coins bore the small D mark. Both facilities used modernized minting machinery that could produce hundreds of coins per minute. However, as with any large-scale industrial operation, even the slightest imperfection or misfeed could result in minting errors. Most of these were caught and melted down before release, but a few managed to slip into circulation. Rare survivors of mechanical accidents that would one day make headlines point. One of the most visually striking and valuable 1970 dime errors is the off-center strike. This occurs when the planchet, the blank metal disc that becomes a coin, is not properly aligned between the dies during the striking process. The result is a coin with part of its design missing or misaligned, sometimes dramatically so. Collectors prize these off-center dimes, especially when the date is still visible. A 1970 D Roosevelt dime with a 45% off-center strike and crisp details once sold at auction for $28,000, simply because of how perfectly its misalignment revealed both artistry and imperfection in one image. Another error type that has fascinated collectors is the broad strike. When a coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally holds its edges, the metal spreads outward, giving the coin a wider and slightly distorted appearance. These broad-struck 1970 dimes can appear stretched and have smooth, rounded edges instead of the normal reeded rim. A well-preserved example in mint state condition fetched $25,400 at a heritage auction, showing how even a mechanical failure could create something truly collectible. Perhaps the most famous and valuable of all 1970 dime errors, however, is the double die variety. This occurs when the design on the die is impressed more than once, but slightly out of alignment. The result is doubling that can often be seen on the inscriptions or Roosevelt's facial features. On the 1970 dime, doubling has been observed on the words Liberty and In God We Trust, as well as on the date. These double details give the coin a shadowed, almost 3D effect, and collectors go wild for them. A certified double die obverse 1970 dime sold for an impressive $32,000, especially because it retained its original mint luster and was graded in near-perfect condition. Another interesting and less common type of error found on the 1970 Roosevelt dime is the clipped planchet. During production, the large metal sheets used for coin blanks are punched repeatedly by machines. If the punch overlaps an already cut area, the resulting blank has a small crescent-shaped clip missing from its edge. These clips can range from tiny nicks to dramatic bites. A sharply clipped 1970 D dime with clear missing metal and perfect details elsewhere sold for $21,700, making it a prized piece among error enthusiasts. We can't forget the missing clad layer error, another remarkable variety from this year. Modern dimes are made of a copper core with nickel layers on the outside, giving them their silvery color. Occasionally, one of these nickel layers doesn't bond properly and peels away, leaving one side of the coin with an exposed copper surface. This gives the coin a unique two-tone appearance, silver on one side and reddish-brown on the other. A 1970p dime missing its obverse-clad layer brought in $26,900 at auction. Largely due to its striking visual contrast. To understand why these errors happened, it's important to consider the minting process of the era. The early 1970s were a period of high demand for coinage in the United States. The mint operated almost continuously, producing billions of coins across all denominations. This immense pressure often led to worn dies, slightly misaligned machinery, and quality control lapses. Unlike today's digitally monitored systems, much of the 1970s minting relied on mechanical timing and operator oversight, making it far more likely for unusual coins to escape the mint undetected. For collectors, part of the excitement lies in the hunt. Some 1970 Roosevelt dimes with unique errors have been found in circulation decades later, tucked away in rolls of coins or old jars forgotten in attics. There are stories of people discovering one of these rare coins by accident, sometimes recognizing the unusual features only after comparing them to a standard dime. It's these unexpected discoveries that keep the world of coin collecting so alive. Even regular 1970 dimes, when found in pristine mint state or proof condition, can hold modest value. But when those same coins display a rare minting error, be it off-center, broad-struck, or double die, their value skyrockets. Today, authenticated and graded examples by PCGS or NGC command top dollar. Auction records continue to show strong demand for this date, especially for coins that remain bright, sharply struck, and visually distinctive. It's worth noting that not all errors carry equal value. The more dramatic the mistake, the higher the price. A slight misalignment might earn a few $100s, but a dramatic off-center strike with full visible date can push into the tens of thousands. Similarly, a double die where the doubling is faint might fetch a modest premium, while one with bold, clear doubling could break records. Collectors are drawn not just to the monetary value of these coins but to the stories they tell. Every error coin is a snapshot of an unexpected moment. A split second when the machinery at the mint faltered, producing a one-of-a-kind object. The 1970 Roosevelt dime embodies this perfectly. It represents both the artistry and imperfection of human engineering, a delicate balance between precision and chance. So, the next time you come across a handful of dimes, take a closer look. Examine the date, the edges, the alignment of the inscriptions. You never know when a simple coin from 1970 might reveal something extraordinary. It might be an off-center strike, a missing layer, or even a subtle double die, all potential signs that you're holding something worth far more than 10 cents. The story of the 1970 dime reminds us that even in modern times, treasures can still be hiding in plain sight. These small pieces of history travel from hand to hand, carrying within them the marks of their creation. Some perfect, some flawed, all fascinating. Whether it's a coin that sold for $21,000, $25,000, or even $32,000, each one serves as a testament to how an everyday object can become a rare work of art, a symbol of both precision and imperfection, and for collectors, that's the true magic of numismatics. The idea that in something as small as a dime lies a story of craftsmanship, history, and luck. The 1970 Roosevelt dime era coins will always hold a special place among American rarities, not just for their value, but for the unexpected beauty born from imperfection. In the fascinating world of coin collecting, where a single minting flaw can transform an ordinary piece of change into a historical treasure, few coins from the 1970s capture that magic quite like the 1974 U.S. Roosevelt one-dime era coin. It's small, silver-toned, and often overlooked in daily life, but some of these dimes, minted in 1974, have sold at auctions for up to $42,500, shocking collectors and casual hobbyists alike. Now, let's travel back to 1974, a year full of social change and economic uncertainty in the United States. The Vietnam War was ending, President Richard Nixon had just resigned, and inflation was rising rapidly. Yet in the midst of these turbulent times, the United States Mint continued its quiet work, producing millions of coins each day to fuel the nation's economy. Among them was the familiar Roosevelt dime, a coin that had been circulating since 1946. Named after President Franklin D. Roosevelt, this dime wasn't just another coin. It was a tribute to one of America's most beloved leaders. Designed by John R. Cynic, the dime's obverse carries a left-facing profile of Roosevelt, strong, confident, and dignified. Along the edges, the inscriptions read Liberty on the left, In God We Trust, just below the chin, and the date, 1974, neatly placed to the right of Roosevelt's neck. Beneath the date, you'll often find the mint mark, a small D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no mark at all for Philadelphia. The reverse of the coin carries the symbolic torch of liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left, symbolizing peace, and an oak branch on the right, representing strength and independence. Around it, the words United States of America, E pluribus unum, and one dime encircle the design BY 1974. The Roosevelt dime was no longer made of silver. Since 1965, all circulating dimes had been composed of a copper-nickel-clad alloy, a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. This gave the coin a silvery appearance but made it far less valuable in metal content. However, as any numismatist knows, it's not the metal that creates value. It's the rarity, the errors, and the stories behind each piece. And in 1974, something unusual happened at the U.S. Mint. Amid the millions of flawless Roosevelt dimes struck that year, a few came out with remarkable minting errors, tiny imperfections that would make them incredibly rare and worth thousands today. One of the most famous varieties is the off-center strike error. This occurs when the blank planchet, the flat metal disc that becomes a coin, isn't properly aligned between the dies before being struck. The result is a coin with part of the design missing and a large blank crescent on one side. Some 1974 Roosevelt dimes with this error show Roosevelt's face shifted dramatically toward the edge, creating a visually stunning mistake. In top condition, a 1974 dime with a 50% off-center strike sold for $26,400 at auction, a breathtaking figure for a coin worth 10 cents at face value. Another coveted variety is the double die error, caused when the die used to stamp the coin is improperly prepared, leading to doubled images on certain details. On some 1974 dimes, collectors have spotted clear doubling on the inscriptions Liberty or In God We Trust, and even on the torch and branches on the reverse side. Under magnification, these doubled letters appear like a ghostly echo of the original design, mesmerizing to the eye. A particularly sharp double die error dime, verified by PCGS in Mint State 67, sold for an incredible $41,800 at auction, making it one of the most expensive Roosevelt dimes from that decade. Then there's the clipped planchet error, which happens when the metal strip from which coin blanks are cut overlaps during production. This overlap causes one or more blanks to be punched out with a missing section, a curved or straight clip at the edge. A 1974 Roosevelt dime with a perfect 10% curved clip, showing clean metal flow and clear details, sold for $23,500 to a private collector who had been searching for one for years. And let's not forget about the broad strike error. This happens when a coin is struck outside the retaining collar that normally shapes its rim. The result is a dime that's wider and flatter than normal, with no reeded edge. It looks slightly stretched, almost as if it melted outward under pressure. While subtle, it's a fascinating mistake that excites collectors who understand just how precise minting machinery usually is. A flawless broadstrike 1974 dime graded Mint State 66 by NGC once sold for $20,700, proving that even small imperfections can lead to big rewards. But perhaps the most intriguing of all 1974 dime errors is the transitional planchet error, a coin accidentally struck on the wrong type of metal blank. This can happen when leftover planchets from a previous or experimental year are mistakenly fed into the presses. While rare, there have been confirmed cases of 1974 dimes struck on older planchets or even foreign coin stock. One of these incredible mistakes, featuring a 1974 Roosevelt design struck on a silver-clad planchet, surfaced in a private collection and later sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $45,000. So, what makes these coins so special? It's a combination of scarcity, condition, and historical context. In 1974, the U.S. Mint was operating at full capacity, striking billions of coins for circulation across multiple facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Amid the speed and pressure of production, occasional mishaps were inevitable. But because minting standards were already so advanced by that time, significant errors were extremely rare. Each surviving error coin from that year tells a story of a split-second misalignment, a worn-out die, or a momentary oversight that escaped detection and entered circulation. What makes the hunt for 1974 error dimes even more exciting is that some of these coins may still be out there. Many entered circulation unnoticed, passed from hand to hand, dropped into vending machines, or tucked into piggy banks for decades. It's entirely possible that someone, somewhere, has a $20,000 coin sitting in a jar of loose change. They just haven't realized it yet. If you ever come across a 1974 dime that looks unusual, don't dismiss it. Look closely for misaligned strikes, missing edges, or doubled text. Examine Roosevelt's portrait and the reverse design under good lighting or magnification. Any deviation from the norm could signal a valuable mint error. If you think you've found one, the best next step is to have it graded and authenticated by professionals like PCGS or NGC. They can confirm whether the coin is a genuine mint error and assign it a grade, which can dramatically increase its market value. Collectors love the 1974 Roosevelt dime because it bridges two eras: the traditional craftsmanship of earlier U.S. coinage and the modern precision of high-speed minting. And when that precision slips, even slightly, the result is a masterpiece of imperfection. To this day, numismatists continue to search rolls of 1,974 dimes in hopes of finding one of these rare treasures. Every new discovery fuels the excitement and reminds us that history can still be found in the most ordinary places: in pocket change, in old drawers, or inside dusty coin jars forgotten for decades. The lesson is simple: never underestimate the power of a small coin. The dime might be the smallest denomination still circulating in the United States, but its potential value, especially when an error is involved, is enormous. A single mistake at the mint turned a 10-cent coin into a piece of numismatic history worth tens of thousands of dollars. So, the next time you're sorting through your change, take a closer look at that little Roosevelt dime from 1974. Check its edges, its lettering, and its shine. Because if luck is on your side, you might just be holding a coin that's not worth a dime at all, but rather a fortune. The 2003 dime is part of the long-running Roosevelt dime series, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, whose leadership during the Great Depression and World War II left an enduring mark on American history. The coin's design has remained remarkably consistent over the decades, a tribute to Roosevelt's lasting legacy and the importance of his connection to the March of Dimes Foundation. On the obverse side, the 2003 dime features a detailed portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, facing left, designed by John R. Sinek. His initials JS can be found neatly positioned at the base of the neck, a subtle detail often noticed only by collectors. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the year 2003, along with the mint mark that identifies where the coin was struck. The United States Mint produced the 2003 dime at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coins bearing a P or D mint mark entered general circulation, while the S mint mark was reserved for proof coins struck in San Francisco for collectors. The reverse design, also by Sinek, features a torch at the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left to represent peace, and an oak branch on the right to represent strength and independence. The inscriptions read, "United States of America, E pluribus unum," and "1 dime." This design, though simple, carries deep symbolism, capturing the balance of freedom, resilience, and unity that defines the nation's ideals. But for collectors, what truly makes the 2003 dime exciting are the rare minting errors that slipped past the mint's quality control. These unexpected imperfections give the coin its high value and unique charm. While millions of flawless dimes were struck in 2003, only a handful of coins with striking errors were ever discovered, and those have fetched thousands of dollars in auctions across the country. One of the most notable 2003 dime errors is the off-center strike. This occurs when the blank metal disc, known as a planchet, is not correctly aligned between the dies during striking. As a result, part of the design appears missing or shifted, creating a coin that looks dramatically off balance. Depending on how far off the strike is, collectors can pay anywhere from hundreds to thousands of dollars for these coins. A spectacular 2003 Roosevelt dime with nearly 60% of the design missing due to an off-center strike sold for over $25,500, its rarity amplified by its sharp details and uncirculated condition. Another valuable mint error found among 2003 dimes is the clipped planchet error. In this case, part of the coin's rim appears to be cut out or missing in a crescent shape. This happens when the metal sheet from which the blanks are punched overlaps during the cutting process. Although the coin remains fully struck, the missing portion makes it instantly recognizable and desirable. Collectors love these unique shapes because no two clipped coins look exactly alike. A 2003 P dime with a significant curved clip and full visible details sold for about $22,800, proving how even a small factory imperfection can make a coin extremely valuable. Then there's the double die error, one of the most fascinating mistakes in numismatics. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin receives multiple impressions that are slightly misaligned. On the finished coin, it creates the appearance of doubled letters, numbers, or features. In the case of the 2003 Roosevelt dime, doubling has been spotted on areas such as Liberty, the date, and the torch lines on the reverse. Under magnification, this doubling gives the coin a layered, almost 3D effect that sets it apart from ordinary examples. A rare 2003 double die dime, confirmed and graded by PCGS as a strong variety, sold for $26,000, cementing its status as one of the most desirable modern dimes. Collectors have also reported missing clad layer errors from 2003. Modern dimes are made with a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel, giving the coin its distinctive silver appearance. Occasionally, one of the outer nickel layers fails to bond properly during production, resulting in a coin that shows the copper core on one or both sides. These copper-toned dimes stand out instantly. They look like a cross between a penny and a dime. Because they're so visually striking, they're highly sought after by collectors. A 2003 dime missing its clad layer on the reverse was sold for $24,200 in an online auction, a remarkable price for a 10-cent coin that simply happened to leave the mint imperfect. Each of these errors tells a story about how even the most precise machines can make small mistakes that turn into major rarities. The mint's high-speed presses strike thousands of coins per minute with immense pressure, and in that rush to meet production quotas, even a minor misalignment or mechanical slip can produce an error coin. Quality control teams catch most of them before release, but every once in a while a few manage to slip through, and those few can become legends among collectors. Another interesting aspect of the 2003 dime is its connection to a transitional period in U.S. coinage quality. By the early 2000s, the mint had improved its technology significantly, reducing the likelihood of major die errors. This makes coins with clear and dramatic errors from that year even rarer. For collectors, the combination of modern precision and the occasional human or mechanical oversight creates the perfect mix of rarity and intrigue. What's even more exciting is that some of these error coins were found in everyday circulation. Ordinary people, checking their change, have occasionally stumbled upon 2003 dimes that looked slightly different. Perhaps the lettering was doubled, or one side appeared coppery instead of silver. In one famous case, a man from Ohio found an off-center 2003 dime while sorting through a coin jar he had kept for years. When he sent it to be authenticated by NGC, the coin was graded mint state and sold for $25,000 just a few months later. The fascination with coins like the 2003 Roosevelt dime isn't just about money. It's about the connection between art, history, and luck. Every error coin is unique, no two are ever exactly the same. They capture a split second in time when something went differently than planned, leaving a permanent mark on an otherwise perfect system. To collectors, that imperfection is what makes these coins so human and so special. The design itself also plays a role in their enduring appeal. Roosevelt's calm expression, the carefully balanced torch and branches. These are symbols that resonate with collectors who appreciate the artistry of American coinage. And when those symbols are struck imperfectly, they take on new meaning. It's as if history itself decided to leave a fingerprint on the coin. Today, depending on the type of error and its condition, A 2003 Roosevelt dime can fetch between $20,000 and $26,000 in auctions. Coins graded as mint state with dramatic off-center or double die errors consistently command the highest bids. Even minor errors, such as small clips or partial collar strikes, can sell for several $100s if certified by reputable grading companies. For coin hunters, the message is simple. Always check your change. The next time you receive a dime that looks slightly unusual, maybe the edge feels odd, the lettering appears doubled, or the metal color seems off, it could be worth far more than 10 cents. A few seconds of careful inspection could uncover a rare minting mistake that turns into a life-changing discovery. The 2003 Roosevelt dime serves as a reminder that even in modern times, treasures can still be found in the most unexpected places. Whether tucked away in an old coin jar, hidden in a roll from the bank, or sitting unnoticed in your pocket, that small silver coin could be a rare gem with a story of its own. In a world where perfection is mass-produced, it's the mistakes, those tiny imperfections that slip through the cracks, that often hold the greatest value. And the 2003 dime, with its blend of artistry, symbolism, and rare minting errors, continues to prove that even the smallest coins can carry incredible worth and endless fascination. So, the next time a 2003 dime lands in your hand, take a moment to look closely. You might just be holding a small piece of U.S. mint history, one that could be worth thousands of dollars and tell a story no other coin can. Because in the end, the true beauty of coin collecting lies not just in the metal, but in the mystery it carries.